Hi, my name's Mark Appelman, and it's my pleasure today to visit with Prageet Harris. I've just been a participant in a 4-day event with Prageet and his unique methodology, which we're going to be exploring in our conversation today, is that it's an experiential opportunity for people. People can go into this experience no matter whether they consider themselves novices, nuanced practitioners of high spiritual arts. It doesn't matter. This is an equal opportunity provider of expansion for us all. So Prageet has had quite a fascinating life. One could get a little bit jealous listening to the tales of how his life has unfolded. Back in London, in the East End of London, being what today would be called a special ed teacher. And like Sting, he's left the fold of teaching in London and is working sort of in a different galaxy of stars. But we'll find more about that in the future. Prageet, anything you want to sort of add to kick off your description of this experience?
Well, the Stargate is something very unique, very new. Very recently on the planet, just about 25 years ago, it was introduced. It came to me through my guide Alcazar, and I'd been working with him for about a year. I was living on Maui. It wasn't my intention to start this process of channeling and bringing through information. It just happened one day. I was receiving a massage, and this voice just started to talk. And basically, I just thought initially I was just regurgitating New Age information that I'd read, but my friends said, no, no, you're channeling, and they just encouraged me, do it again, do it again. So I did, and sure enough, it just continued to happen. And after a few days, the name Alcazar was given to me, and my mind said, well, that's such a weird name, there's no way you'd make it up. And eventually, after many experiences, I really started to trust and know the value of the information that was coming through. Alcazar started to guide meditation workshops. He started to do personal invitations for people to come and receive information. And not only would he tell them about things that had happened in their lives up until that point, but also telling them things that were about to happen. And then he'd say, call Prageet when they happen. So I started getting these calls. And so he was just giving me a demonstration of the reality of what was coming through. And when I'd reached that level of trusting and saying, okay, I'm open for this, and I'd worked with him for about a year, as I said, he said, we want you to build a structure. It's called a Stargate. It's going to be an interdimensional doorway. And so he just gave me an image in my mind. No angles, no dimensions, nothing, just the image, and said, build this. And I said, well, okay, but give me a bit more. And he said, no, just do it, you'll remember. So it took many months to create, and once it was finally done, it was like, wow, what do we do with this thing? And so slowly, slowly, over the years, I've been given a training in lots of different facets, but very basically, the interdimensional doorway that this structure represents is actually a consciousness. The Stargate has a consciousness which is anchored into this physical structure. And actually the size is not critical. This large one here we use in groups. But we have some very small ones. It's the geometry that actually creates the energetic that holds the consciousness. So the physical structure is but an anchor for a consciousness, the same way as our body is an anchor for our consciousness.
I wanted to ask you just a couple questions, sort of about the current focus of your work. You described the initial time period when you were sort of given this transmission, and it's fascinating. By the way, I hope that you do go deeper into Prageet and the work that he's doing. But perhaps you can give the viewers a little bit of an overview of, here we are, the summer of 2014. What do you see the focus of your work for the next year or so?
Well, perhaps we just need to go back a little about what we've been doing already, just to give a kind of a groundwork.
20 years in between.
The amazing thing for me is that this process continues to evolve. My process with my guide Alcazar continues to evolve. So let me talk about that first.
Yes.
When he first connected with me and I would be ready to kind of channel, I would kind of close my eyes, prepare myself, kind of try and relax inside, and then I could feel this energy just gently coming in, and then my voice would change and my face would change, and then the channeling would start. What's happened over the years is that that process no longer happens. There was a kind of a merging that happened. And so now, when I channel, it's like instant, like he's there. It's always with me. It's part of me now, in a sense. There's a connection that's permanently there, that's instantly accessible. And literally, if there's a moment and an openness with the other person, then Alcazar is there and will come through and potentially share something. So with the Stargate work, he's been guiding me through a whole process of learning about our human conditioning. And without going into all the details, it's been a step-by-step process. And so for a few months, people that were coming for sessions all had a similar kind of situational problem. And then I'd get that understanding, and then there'd be something else, and so on. So where are we at now? The structure, the consciousness of the Stargate responds to those around it. So either to the individual or to the group. And it responds to our intention. So with the intention to be more awake, more aware, it will respond to however is appropriate in the moment with that person. It's really difficult to put it into words because it's so different every time. The way we work with it in a group is we actually ask the consciousness, what we call the etheric Stargate, to vibrate faster and faster. The physical structure, as I say, is an anchor. The energy just starts to vibrate faster and faster and actually moves up through the dimensional ranges. So what we normally do is we take it up to the 12th dimension. And those people in the room just relaxing into the energy field, what happens is their own vibration gently raises also. And when they're in harmony with that 12th dimensional energy, they are far more sensitive to the benevolent beings that exist in these higher dimensions. The angelic realm, for example, the ascended masters of all the different religions that we've been aware of. But not only that, what we call the star families, beings from around the universe, such as the Pleiadians, the Arcturans, the Sirians, and so on. We can invite them into the space, and people, the participants, can actually feel the energy changing as these beings come into the space. Those who have their inner vision open can actually see them coming down, materializing, if you like to call it that way, actually coming down and being with us. The way this whole Stargate process works is about reactivating dormant DNA. It's a complex process, but the explanation is kind of simple. Our DNA exists not just on the physical level, but we have multidimensional DNA. Most of that DNA, about 70% perhaps, is still dormant. The vibrations from the Stargate and the vibrations of these benevolent beings, the angels, the masters, and so on, Each one of them has a different frequency, a different vibration, but all of those vibrations vibrate our DNA. And in that vibration, some of this dormant DNA is reactivated, and people feel it. By the end of the session or by the end of the day, they can feel their vibration has changed. They have actually raised their vibration, and it's permanent.
It's interesting because we're talking here about humanity in general, sort of leaving its childhood and entering into it's at least adolescence, or perhaps we've been bad, misbehaving adolescents on this planet for the last 30,000 years or so. But we're definitely stepping our game up and joining a larger community, which is welcoming us. And this is one of the ways that it's doing it. Now, in the past, I've spoken a little bit about, you know, in the Indian, Hindu cultures, there was a big discussion about the third eye. And sort of about 10 or 20 years ago, I said, well, you know what? In this time period that we're entering into, the third eye is going to be changed into the three eyes. And the first is intuition, and the second is imagination, and the third is intention. And basically, it's a fascinating procedure because we're moving around in our linear life. And frankly, as we grow as beings, we are not losing our humanity, but we're just adding on other attributes and aspects. It's a lot like having your basic TV and suddenly you have cable and there's just a lot more available to you. So what happens is that a lot of the skill sets like power, domination, you know, sexual control, etc., and all these other ways that we seem to manipulate one another no longer exist in these more penthouse levels of self. So it only works if you use your intention, you use your intuition, you use your imagination. These are the mediums that the larger levels of self operate through. And this teaching, this technology, this portal, and this opportunity that you provide to others really allow people to get direct feedback and confirmation of the power of using these new skill sets.
Who impresses me? Well,
or inspires you, or yeah.
I'm very touched by the work of Lee Carroll and Cryon, but there are many, many, many people out there bringing through a variety of techniques, some of which I would enjoy, others have nothing for me. But we are all so unique, so different, that what works for one person doesn't work for another. And so the Stargate work is absolutely amazing, but it's only for those people that are drawn to it. There are other people that are drawn to all these different techniques, and I celebrate each one. Some of them you might go to and think, oh, it's not working, it's no good, it doesn't work. Well, no, okay, maybe it doesn't work for you, but don't deny that particular pathway. So it's like, yes, there's a lot out there, it's perfect for someone.
And if somebody is wanting to find out a little bit more about your work, you've got a website and that sort of thing, and I understand that there are intro videos that you're going to be providing for people to get a taste of that, and audio visual.
Sure. Yeah, we do have a website. It's stargateinternational.com. But to be honest, there's no way you can really describe in words what happens. It's an experience. It's an experience that's different for everyone. People have had all kinds of things happen. We've just completed a 4-day thing here where people have started to actually connect and get a grasp of their quantum self. This aspect of self that exists out of time, out of space, and yet it's part of your superconsciousness. And when you start connecting into that energetic, your whole ability to create is amplified in the most amazing way. Alcazar has been stressing over the years, develop your intuition, follow your intuition, grow your intuition, because the intuition is the key. It's the key to your quantum self, it's the key to your higher self, it's the key to what you would call the innate intelligence, that part of the greater self that operates the physical body. Communicating with the innate intelligence can actually help you work with changing the physical body. It's the connection to your guides. All of that comes through the intuitive process. And so what we encourage and what the Stargate develops in the energetic field, a very tangible, strong, energetic field, it encourages the development of the intuition. And as a byproduct, people's physical bodies often change. We've had people that, we just returned from Europe, and on that trip, 2 people who had curvature of the spine, just in about an hour. Their spine straightened out. One of the ladies in Holland was walking around saying, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. I'm not in pain. 16 years I've been in pain. Things like this happen on a very physical level. Why? Because they have reactivated part of their DNA, this particular one in the physical level, for example, where some of it was shut down because of some mental or emotional concept that they had when they grew up or had carried forward from a past life situation. It can change in a moment. Cancer can disappear. All these things, we don't make these medical claims. These are simply things which people have said. This has happened to us. But it happens on a much higher level also. It opens up your psychic abilities for some people. It relieves stress and mental problems for some people.
It's really hard to give a 3D explanation to what happens.
Absolutely.
Because we're used to our normal transactional mentality is that we go to somebody and somebody takes care of us. So we disempower ourselves. We trust me, I'm a doctor. It's an old vaudeville joke. We traditionally have given away our power to an outside authority or to our spouses, or in many cases, the helicopter parents of today are doing it to their kids. But what's happening is that we're culturally conditioned to give our power away. This is like 180 degrees behind. We're not going to a healer. We're going to ourselves. We're coming up with the ability to open ourselves up, and ta-da, turns out the healer was inside of us. And that's the magic of this, and that's the magic of what this time period for Earth and humanity promises.
It's like when people come, one of the first things that we usually say to them is, let go of any expectation. Just simply relax into the energy field. There's nothing to do. And this goes against all our conditioning over the lifetimes that we've been here on the earth, where we've been trained to do, you've got to work hard to get something. You've got to struggle. And so actually initially it's a little difficult for people to actually accept that by just relaxing, going inside, not doing anything, being in the energy field, feeling the energy rising, can actually create change. And so it's wonderful when we have a group of people and they start sharing about what they just felt in the last meditation. Because the way we present this is in a series of what we call short meditations, simply because I don't know how else to describe it yet. But we put on some music, Alcazar comes through and guides the experience. We invite the beings in, their vibration starts to touch everybody, and we just relax into it. Very often Alcazar is giving some information about the type of energy that's coming through, but there's literally nothing to do. In fact, he says, any doing gets in the way. So as much as possible, it's even about allowing the mind to relax. And magic happens. It's just, it happens. You can't decide it, you can't control it. It's just about trusting into the benevolent beings who can see us far better than we can see ourselves, because they can see the various layering that we've got, the past life experiences that we have left undealt with, the various mental and emotional things we've got shut inside. It's incredible. It blows me away. I've done hundreds, thousands probably, of different experiences, and they're always different. They're always a response to those who are present. It's a delight. I love it.
Well, listen, I think we've spent a lovely bit of time together. There's obviously more. I invite you to explore this experience on your own, and I thank you so much for the personal experience I've had with you this last weekend, and look forward to seeing what you're going to do on lifting the veil from our little sleeping planet. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you all.